Okay, over to the LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone line. We welcome in one of our good friends and one of the good guys in the swamp. It's Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District. Mike, good morning. Thanks for the time. I know you've been incredibly busy. We usually have you scheduled on Wednesdays, but talk about your day briefly yesterday. You were on a flight early morning to D.C., yes?
Oh, that's right. Well, I took the 6 a.m. flight to D.C. Because we knew the issue was with traffic. We weren't sure in terms of what flights would be canceled, what flights would be delayed.
Right.
We were told that we would likely be voting sometime around 4 o'clock. So the plan was if I missed that 6 a.m. flight, and I talked to my colleague Troy Balderson, who's from Zanesville. He actually drove in. I believe Joyce Beatty flew in as well. She didn't fly on the flight with me, but across the country, you had every single member that was trying to get in, and as early as Monday, the speaker and the leadership team were telling us, "Hey, get to D.C. as soon as possible," because we just couldn't risk anything because of the shutdown, and making sure that you got your travel plans so we could have enough people to vote on the floor, and ultimately we did last night. So.
Well, thank you for your vote yesterday. We appreciate it. The longest government shutdown in American history ended yesterday. I know you voted for it. I know Balderson. How did Joyce vote yesterday, by the way?
I know there were 6 or 7 Democrats that actually joined Republicans on the House version. I haven't seen the full list of people that voted for it.
Okay,
But I think in the end, I think the key here is that we do have the government open. It was signed by the president last night. I think the speaker was very clear last night. I saw an interview with him. Right after the vote, he said, our long national nightmare is open or is over.
Yeah.
And the government's open. So, but I think when you start looking at the benefits of what's happened, it never had to be this way. We could have passed this clean CR weeks ago. The Senate tried 14 times to pass a clean CR. Again, the Democrats, my colleagues on the other side, did this over 13 times. This is all Biden era funding. So we've got the government open. I think part of the package that they did include in the bill, obviously the extension will go into January of 2026. We could find ourselves back at the discussion again in January 2026, but I think the President and the Senate had some negotiations with Democrat senators about the health care provisions that were set to expire anyway. There was nothing in the clean CR that had anything to do with health care. This was something that the time frame the Democrats put on all of the health care provisions. Anyway, this could have been a discussion that we've had for the last 5 weeks, but because we were closed, we couldn't have it. But when you looked at the bill, I think for Central Ohio, there were a couple added provisions. We got 3 of the appropriation packages funded, which I think is very important. Those included the agriculture FDA, the military construction, and obviously the ledge branch. And these fundings will go for 3 full-year measures. So that's solid. But as part of that, folks in Obetz will get their water tower that we submitted, over a few $1 million for that. Madison County get the Sheriff's Office Department building, which is something that they've needed for quite some time. So we've been able to get those things done and keep the government open, get people back to work, federal employees, VA benefits, SNAP, WIC cutoff, all those things will go back. And, of course, for somebody like me today that will be traveling back to Central Ohio, air traffic controllers. That's going to be big. So.
Get those folks back to work, and as you pointed out, the SNAP benefits are fully funded for another year. And you were too kind. I'm not so nice about this, and you said this was could have been avoided. This was absolutely pointless. Congressman, absolutely point. The Democrats got nothing. None of their requested provisions, mainly the Obamacare subsidies, they got nothing out of this. Why did we go through this dog and pony show? I mean, I think I know the answer, and it's 2 people. It's Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries prioritizing their political positions instead of helping hungry Americans and American travelers. It's ridiculous.
Mike, you're right. I mean, here the bottom line was this was being driven not by Chuck Schumer or Jeffries. I think this was being driven by the progressive side of their party. And I think in the end, you didn't see a push by, and I think even if you listen to Jeffrey's Magic Minute last night, it was, he could have went on for, hours, like he did during our reconciliation plan. But I think in the end, they were trying to appease the far left. I think they wanted to get through. They had a couple items that they wanted to get through. They wanted to get through the election, but in the end, who did they hurt? They hurt the people that were, relying on SNAP, relying on WIC, the people that were traveling, the workers that hadn't been paid. Our team here in the federal office, all of our employees remained working on behalf of the people of the 15th Congressional District without paychecks. And I know that, like many members, me included, we voluntarily said, listen, we're not going to get paid unless the rest of the federal government gets paid. So the hurt was put on the American people for political reasons. I think there were Democrats and Republicans that came together last night. They said enough is enough. This didn't have to be this way. We can negotiate. We can talk about the issues that we need to talk about, but let's get the government back working for the American people, and that's what you saw last night.
Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District. So we're funded now fully until January 30th, and my worry is, Congressman, is that this is going to happen again. What can we do to prevent the Democrats from pulling some sort of a political stunt again here in 2.5 months? And then the part two to that question is, why can't we fully fund the government for longer than 2 months at a shot? Can we not do 6 months or a year?
I think the number, I would have liked to have seen that. I think the key, what we were trying to get done, I think, and that, again, bipartisanly, I think if you look at the measures as it related to the appropriations process, both bipartisan, all three of those were bipartisan. We have 9 other appropriations bills. This should give us enough time to address those 9 bills. I mean, you saw they worked pretty they work together to try to get these 3 done. We've got 9 more. The thought is we can get these appropriations done through the end of January 2026. But, again, I mean, it's going to require a lot of work. You've seen them opening up days. Next week, for example, we're set to continue to vote all the way through Friday. Committees will start their work again. But, there's nothing that says that the Democrats wouldn't try to shut this down again in January 2026. But I do believe that, when you saw the movement from the people that voted for our clean CR the first time to the clean CR this time, along with the appropriations process, I think you saw a movement on the Democrats because, again, people that were affected by this shutdown weren't just Republicans or independents; they were also Democrats. I think everybody in this country was affected by this, and clearly it didn't have to be this way. And I think in the end, over the next couple weeks, as the media has time to kind of piece back all of the items that happened during this process, to realize this was a waste of time. It was a political stunt, and it didn't have to be this way.
It sure didn't, Congressman. And I wish we had more time, but I just want to thank you on behalf of everybody in your district and Central Ohioans for going in, doing the right thing, keeping a level head and a steady hand. You're the right guy in the right spot, so we appreciate your work in D.C. and keep fighting the good fight, Congressman.
I appreciate it. It's great to be with you this morning. I look forward to talking to you again.
You bet. 7:18.